So it's really my pleasure to introduce you to a good friend of the JCC, Smadar Bar-Akiva. Since 2002, Smadar has been the executive director of JCC Global, a network of 1,000 Jewish community centers worldwide, which is a preeminent organization in Jewish peoplehood education. Smadar holds an MA degree in contemporary Jewry and a BA in international relations and English literature, both with honors, from Hebrew University in Jerusalem. She's a graduate of Kollel Pluralistic Beit Midrash and Harvard Kennedy School Seminar, a Mandel 2-year mentorship, and a life coach. And now, without further ado, my friend Smadar.
Thank you, Sarah. So nice to see our great friends with us at this middle of the night for you and a great morning for me. So today we are going to take you on a road trip to some wonderful communities around the world that have great JCCs. And so let's start. Yes, okay, so first of all, to all our friends in New York and around the world, you are part of us, we are part of you, one global world. I am broadcasting today from Tel Aviv, so I need a minute just to, first of all, thank you for all your wishes of support during these trying times. And the quote from the Sanhedrin that comes to my mind is that when, after the parting of the seas, when the ministering angels wanted to recite a song of praise after all the Egyptians were drowned in the sea, God told them, the Egyptians are drowning in the sea and you are reciting a song before me, meaning we care about the loss of every person that loses their lives. And this is my call today for peace, for healing, for everyone to look at the other, regardless who is right, who is wrong, the history, the past, looking at the future. So I hope this session here in Israel will be uninterrupted by any missiles. And we will dive into meet our wonderful two friends that are with us today. And they are Ina Lapidos-Kinbere from the Riga JCC, the director of the Riga JCC in Latvia. Hi, Ina. And Licia Bechar, the director of the Aleph JCC in Istanbul, Turkey. Hi, Licia. I'm going to direct some questions to both of them, and then I invite you in the chat to ask questions, comments. We have a short time, but we'll try and be as interactive as possible. So I want to start with my friend Ina. The spotlight should be on Ina, please. Ina was born in Tallinn, Estonia. She lived, studied, and worked in Estonia, Latvia, and the USA. Ina graduated from Tallinn Pedagogical University with a BA in English, Philology, and Pedagogy, and from the University of Latvia with an MA in Teaching Methodology. She then worked as an English teacher at the International School of Estonia and the private university to Riga in Latvia. She's a longtime volunteer in the Jewish community, and she was appointed the JCC Riga director 3 years ago, a JCC that aspires to be a modern cultural and educational center for various age groups with various backgrounds and interests. Ina, I want to ask you a question. Why a JCC in Riga, Latvia?
Thank you, Smadar. Hello, everybody. It's 9:30 here in Riga, Latvia. It's almost spring, but it's still cold. At JCC in Latvia, well, in my presentation, I will show the rich history of Latvian Jewry. And so nowadays, it's very important to have a JCC in Latvia. It's very important to have a Jewish community in Latvia and to have the Jewish culture, the Jewish tradition celebrated together. It's an absolutely must in our Baltic states with a very rich Jewish history, which unfortunately was disrupted by World War II. Your microphone is off, Smadar.
Okay, am I on now? Yes.
Yes.
I was doing some behind the scenes. Our friend Licia Behar. Licia was born and raised in Istanbul. She's a graduate of the Media and Communications Department at Bilgi University in Istanbul, and she's also a certified English teacher. Licia has been volunteering for the Jewish community since childhood. Among her many responsibilities, she was the president of a Jewish youth team and one of the founders team of Limud Turkey. She has been working as a professional since 2010, starting with kids and family programs and now directing the JCC. Licia and her husband are raising a 9-year-old daughter. My question to Licia, you live in a country with 98% Muslims. What does it mean to have a JCC in Istanbul? Unmute. You can unmute yourself.
Am I on now? Hello.
Yes. Speak louder.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hag Shavuot Sameach. I'm Licia Behar from Istanbul, and I'm very happy to be here. Turkey's population is 150 million people, we can say, and the Turkish Jewish community is around 20,000 people. So mostly located in Istanbul, where our JCC is. Yes, 98% is Muslim, and but we are a very active JCC. Like in the whole world, security is a big concern for us. Our facilities are highly secured, and we do not go with our Jewish side publicly, like meaning we don't yell we are Jewish, but it's very common. We have a lot of Muslim friends, very close friends, and we are integrated into the society. And like I can say, many of my Muslim friends think that I am an English teacher in the Jewish school because I cannot tell them I'm a director of a Jewish community center. But inside the Jewish Community Center, we are very active. It's just that our two lives do not intersect. And only Jewish people can come into our JCCs in Turkey. Therefore, it would be rude and inhumane to tell my Muslim friend, no, you cannot come here. So we just don't tell it. And so this is how it looks like to be in a JCC with a 98% Muslim country, I feel like.
Yeah, wow, what an experience. It's hard for us to believe. But having visited your JCC, it's as vibrant, as beautiful as every one of our JCCs.
Thank you.
Ina, I think you wanted to see if people know anything about Riga, Latvia. Let's
Yes,
share.
I have prepared a small quiz for everybody. I know it's the middle of the night in New York, so let's be a little bit more active and wake up. Since everybody's muted, I would ask people to put their answers in the chat, and this way we'll learn a little bit more about Riga, Latvia. And after the pandemic is over, you're very, very welcome to visit Riga, Latvia, and to visit our Jewish community. So, a Jewish space where you can be yourself, JCC Riga. The first question is, Latvia is a part of the Baltic states, the United States, and the Balkans. If you can put the answers in the chat, that would be great. Let me see the chat. The Baltic states, yes, you are absolutely right. It is a part of the Baltic states. The capital of Latvia is Tallinn, Vilnius, or Riga. And I will be happy to see the answers in the chat. Yes, you're right. It is Riga. And here is the map. So if you come and travel to the Baltic states, it's a 4-hour drive from Lithuania to Latvia, from Latvia to Estonia. From Lithuania to Estonia, it will take 8 hours, but to Latvia from both sides, it will take only 4 hours. So for the United States, it's really nothing. It's really small, and it's on the shores of the Baltic Sea, which is always cold, but it's a sea and it's very nice. It's not as big as an ocean, but we're very happy to be near the seaside. The next question. Jewish life in Latvia is dated back to which century? The 16th century, the 12th century, or the 18th century? Can you please write your answers in the chat? The 16th century, exactly. We have people who know history very well and know our part of the world. Before World War II, how many Jews were there in Latvia? 20,000, 50,000, or 93,000? Let's check the chat. 20,000, 50,000. Okay, great tries, but unfortunately, World War II was very, very sad here in the Baltic states, and there were 93,000 Jews in the Baltic states, and many of them have perished, and it's a very sad sight for the Holocaust. Actually, here is a picture of our museum. This is how old advertisements look like. They were in Yiddish and they were in Hebrew, and our museum is another site which is a part of our community that I would really recommend visiting. Today, Latvia has about 12,000 Jews, 20,000 Jews, or 3,000 Jews. Let's check the chat. What are people answering? 3,000. Well, here we are more optimistic because we think that it's from 10,000 to 12,000 Jews here today in Latvia. Which famous artist was born in Daugavpils, Latvia? Was it Marc Chagall? Was it Pablo Picasso? Or was it Mark Rothko? Let's check the chat. Let's see the answers in the chat. Rothko. Yes. You are completely right. And we will see a picture. And if you go to Daugavpils, before it was called Dvinsk, Daugavpils has changed many names. And there is a nice museum in Daugavpils about Mark Rothko. Which famous rabbi was born again in Daugavpils, Latvia? Was it Rabbi Abraham Isaac Cook? Was it Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson? Or was it Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik? Let's see the chat. A, Rabbi Abraham Cook. Exactly. That is the right answer. So Daugavpils is a very famous place where a very famous rabbi came from. So you see, Latvia is really a place worth visiting. How many synagogues are there in Riga today? 1, 7, or 15? And I'm not speaking about Latvia. I'm speaking only about Riga. 1, 7, or 15? Let's see the chat. 1, 1, 1. Yes, only 1 synagogue. And before the war, there were 35 congregations in Riga, just imagine. And there's only 1 synagogue that was not burned down or is not bombed. It's called the Peit of Shul. I will show pictures of it just in a second. Are the Latvian Jews mostly Sephardic, Ashkenazi, or both? Let's check the chat. Yes, we are Ashkenazi. We are with Ashkenazi traditions. So Sephardic, we are very interested in Sephardic kind of ethnic groups, but we are here Ashkenazi. Now take a look at our beautiful synagogue. It's called Peit Shul. It's been renovated recently. It's in the old center of Riga. And it's a beautiful, beautiful synagogue in a very interesting style and architecture. How many employees are there at JCC Riga? Now, for Americans, this will be very surprising, but let's see what you answer. Is it 10? Is it 15? Or is it 3? What do you think? Oh my God, there's a person who knows everything. That all the answers are completely right. Absolutely, we have only 3 employees, and I'm sure that for some of the JCCs, it's really not a lot, but we are also a small community, and you know, if you have the right responsibilities, then even 3 people can do a great job. When was JCC Riga established? Was it 2010, was it 2014, or was it 2020? Let's see, we have here our fan who knows everything. Yes, correct. 2014, exactly. So our JCC is already 7 years old, and I was invited to be the director of the JCC, the first director of the JCC actually here in 2014. So it's been 7 years already. And this is our beautiful JCC. It's on the 2nd floor of the Riga Jewish community. It's been renovated. It's modern. It's beautiful. It doesn't have a lot of premises, but when we need something for bigger holidays and events, we just rent them. But here we hold something small, it's a place loved by our leadership also, actually. The building of Riga Jewish community, is it a former famous cafe, theater, or a warehouse? Let's see what the chat answers. Cafe. Well, here, I must tell you that was a former theater. I will show you a picture of our community. This is the community in the quiet center of Riga, in the neighborhood, which is all about Art Nouveau. And this is our community. My office is on the 2nd floor. If you see the balcony on the 2nd floor, it's right on the left from the balcony. On the 1st floor, we have the welfare center. The 2nd floor is the JCC. The 3rd floor is the Museum of Latvia, and the 4th floor is the administration. Since it's a former theater, there are huge theatrical halls in this building where you can host up to 500 people with a real stage and real theatrical seats and everything that reminds you of a theater. So it also has been renovated. It's a beautiful building. It's really a place where visitors come. This is where we kind of cherish our Jewish tradition and Jewish history. So when the pandemics is over, we invite you to come to Riga. We invite you to come to our Jewish community, to our synagogue, to meet with me, and I will show you everything in person. And we have real fans here who know everything about Riga, Latvia, and our Jewish history, which I'm very, very excited about because it's 2:30 in New York, and people are active, and they're so good. Thank you, Smadar. This was Latvia, and welcome to Latvia.
Thank you so much, Ina. Even I learned a few new things, and we can see how come only 3 people, but with all your energy and talent, you can do so much for the Jewish community. And it's a Jewish community that really started anew several years ago, and look what it has accomplished. So, thank you so much. And now we're moving to Istanbul, to Licia. Licia prepared for us a short presentation, and then Licia, I'll ask you to say a few words about the JCC, the Jewish community. So here we go.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a
Thank you. Licia, the floor is yours. Unmute. And speak close to the microphone.
Hello again. Our JCC is located in the campus of the Jewish School. And we do a lot of programming, starting with kids, yoga, and little entrepreneurship programs. And our programs go up until to the home care system, which is 65 plus. And meanwhile, we have a very active ladies club. We do a lot of hobbies and Hebrew lessons and Spanish classes, and we are also very active on sports. We have teams on dealing on the federation level with table tennis, basketball, football, and swimming. And we mostly have, when it's not pandemic, on our routine, our weekends are full of around 300 people joining our events. And we are mostly Sephardic Jews with a 1% of Ashkenazi roots. And we are 5 people working professionally in our team for all the programming, the facility management, and our lay leaders are the board members. We have 15 people of board members. And to be able to express ourselves better on the chief rabbinate level, we also share events like European Jewish Day and open libraries to make our Muslim friends understand and get to know us. I can say that most of us feel Turkish, and we are Turkish Jewish people. We are all into the Turkish food, Turkish cuisine, Turkish delight. For example, in Shavuot, we are going to cook very traditional Ottoman cuisine, something called mohallebi, which is like a pudding. And we try to cherish every Jewish aspect in our JCC.
Thank you, Licia. I have to share with you a wonderful experience that we had several years ago. We had a JCC Global delegation to Istanbul, and we had members from the Sephardi community in Mexico City. And when they walked into the synagogue in Istanbul, they saw their names of their relatives on the wall. So there were families that were originally from Turkey and now spread all over the world. So there is a very strong Sephardi connection.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Ina, are there any connections with the general community, with the general culture that you think influenced your community?
That's a great question. I was thinking about that. I don't think there were. Maybe in terms of cuisine, there are some things that are put on traditional Jewish table, but also that are connected with the culture where we live, like the potatoes, the cottage cheese, the herring, things that are here in the region. They have probably become a part of the Jewish traditional cuisine and table. That's the only thing I can kind of think of. Nothing more, probably.
So it's interesting because also Licia was talking about cuisine and food. So it means that Jews, wherever we go, we bring these cultures, and this is why our palate is so interesting and exciting to eat all these kinds of foods. I can share with you, I have a Sephardic father from Bulgaria, an Ashkenazi mother from Poland, but our cuisine is Sephardi because that's the tradition of the family. We have a question here from Glenda from Toronto. asking if the Jews in Riga are mostly Orthodox, conservative, or Reform. Alicia, I will ask you the same questions afterwards.
The community here is mostly conservative, I would say. We have a small Chabad community, and there are people who are a part of Chabad Orthodox community, but otherwise the members of the community, they are conservative. There are certain traditions that people keep. These are high holidays, and somehow for Latvia, those high, I mean, you will see the synagogue packed for only 3 holidays. This is Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Simchat Torah. All the rest are somehow for people here not as important. I'm from Estonia, so in Estonia maybe it might be slightly different. But here is what you see actually. And lately, many people are becoming Orthodox and becoming a part of Chabad community for different reasons. And we see that also a lot when people take Giyur and they become religious, and their kids also. This is also a tendency that has been here from the break of the Soviet Union.
And in fact, Ina, can you say a few more words about the Jewish identity and how you were able to revive it? Because the people that we're talking about going to the synagogues may not have not grown up in families where they could practice Judaism during communist time. Can you share with us a little bit?
Yes, there are 2 types of people probably. I myself, for example, I was born in a Jewish family with the Jewish parents, not intermarried. And so for us, I grew up with Pesach traditions, with Hanukkah traditions, with Purim traditions. For me, it was a part of life, which was absolutely normal. However, there are other people, groups of people, where the families were completely assimilated, and one of the parents was probably not Jewish. And so for them, this whole Jewish tradition, first of all, it was forbidden in the Soviet times. You could not get matzah. You cannot show that you actually keep traditions at home. So this was probably brought to them by their kids already that might have started going to Jewish Sunday school or to a Jewish school in general or to a Jewish kindergarten. And those kids started bringing the tradition home and making their parents keep some of the things. And some of the kids also went to Israel for Aliyah or for different programs they could study. And they were the people who the kids were the people who brought the tradition back to the house and to the parents. So I would say there are like 2 groups of people.
And this is why I would add that in many of these communities in the former Soviet Union and also the Baltic states, you really get your Judaism from the JCC quite often, because sometimes this gap, right? And then you as a JCC, you have a very important role, not just as a recreation or social welfare, but also as a Jewish education center.
That's mostly what we do, and that's what we concentrate on. This is informal education, the camps, the youth, and for adults, holidays, Jewish content, Jewish education. This is very important for us.
Right. Licia, how is Jewish tradition in Istanbul? How are people observing in terms of Orthodox? Do you have non-Orthodox communities?
We are mostly under the general umbrella of Orthodox. Our community is written as Orthodox, but we have 1 or 2 Chabad families, and we have many Jews experiencing their Judaism through different levels. I can say that we are mostly we are keeping our traditions as in informal education side, and just like Ina said, 3 times a year the synagogues are at their most crowded level, and as I said, mostly Sephardic families, and their traditions are on the front line. But just like you, my mother is half Ashkenazi, and my grandmother, as being a Sephardic housewife, and she used to do all the cooking, and I remember her teaching us all the traditional methods and doing the holiday cookings and things like that were very precious.
Great. So our very own Sarah Kay is sharing that she was in Istanbul some time ago, and they visited an incredible synagogue where the bima was shaped like Noah's Ark. Do you know which synagogue it is?
No, not
Oh,
really.
okay, Sarah, we'll need more information. Okay, so you are in Istanbul, Ina, you're in Riga, but frankly, we feel very close to you because both of you are involved with global connections. Licia, can you tell us a little bit about your connections with other Jewish communities around the world? And also, why is it important for you?
I can say that we are very privileged to be a part of JCC Global, and through JCC Global, we have enriched our networking throughout the world, and we do. We do 3 different projects with Israel, with artists, with Burgata community in Israel, and also we did a project um, with France arts community, Jewish arts community, and those are very important for us because even though we all have our local uh, enrichments and local treasures, it's always to feel Jewish because it's not something we are able to live openly in our country. So through these networkings, we are kind of like at the front lines celebrating and expressing our Jewish selves. So that's why it's very important. And also on the programming wise, like with the pandemic, we were really able to have a great jump, a big success on the Zoom programmings. And we had a mentorship program with JW3 London. So that was a dream come true. Now we are able to work, although all our JCCs are closed. So it's also learning about best practices through global network. So that's very important.
Okay. Ina, what about you?
So Smadar has introduced me to JCC Global a few years ago, and since then it has been a great partnership. For us also, it's very important networking, collaboration, partnerships. Before the pandemics, we had many groups that came to us. It was peer visits, and we went visiting each other and seeing how JCCs work, meeting people. This is very important. It's very hard to be alone in this world. It's much better to be together doing the same thing. And if somebody has invented something great, why invent a new bicycle when you can just take a good practice and share what you have, and it can be a great collaboration. The pandemics, we have been also very successful with Zooms this year, and I see the pandemics as actually a great opportunity that opened many, many doors, because with the Zoom, we got to be so international, even with online camping and the events that we have every week, because the Zoom gave so many opportunities that we haven't understood before, because without it now, we just can't live.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And really at JCC Global, our slogan from the pandemic was no JCCs left alone. And it's very important for us to connect everyone. And we know that when we bring all of you together, there isn't much difference between the rich ones and the poor ones and the big and the small, because we all strive to strengthen Jewish identity and to improve humankind. And We're all on the same wavelength, even if we speak different languages and we're in different places. So first of all, Alicia, Sarah Kay checked and she was at the Arida synagogue. So next
Yes,
time,
that's a very historical and very important synagogue.
the next
Thank
time
you.
we go
Next
there,
time you come, we'll go together.
and we'll look at the special bima. I don't also remember.
Yes.
And we have a question from Jesus O. Burstyn. Are there present events, because of the present events in Israel, any violence against the Jewish community? And he also asked earlier if there is any anti-Semitism in Istanbul or in Riga. Who wants to start? Ina?
So as for Riga, anti-Semitism is always a question that everybody loves to ask, probably because of our past. But I'm happy to say that we don't feel it. It's not in the open. It's like it's not there. That you hear, see, or feel all the time. Not at all. As for Israel events, we also, just like every other Jewish community, we had a strong statement coming out on our Facebook and the site, and we collaborate with the Israeli embassy in Riga, where together we came up with the letter for everybody that we stand with Israel, and that we love Israel and we trust Israel and will always do so. So thank God, we don't speak about anti-Semitism here.
Wow, amazing. How about you, Licia? And I know there are things that you can say and there are things that you can't say. So whatever you can tell us, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there is anti-Semitism, but we don't face it on our day-to-day lives. Like, I don't personally face it, but on the other levels, yes, there are some anti-Semitic events.
Thank you. Okay, any more questions or comments? And if not, I would ask you to say maybe a few final words. Is there a message that you would like to convey to our friends in North America and around the world? Something that is on your mind, a challenge that you want to overcome in the near future? Just to hear a little bit more from you before we wrap up.
I would like to kind of map Riga and Latvia in the world's map, because not many people come and travel here. I guess only when all the itineraries made with all the places where you want to go and travel, you know, the big interesting countries, only then our part of the world becomes like on itinerary. But I want to say that the Baltic region used to be a very rich Jewish region with many Jews. You saw the numbers. Come here, see the history, remember the people that have died here, unfortunately, and come and celebrate with us the birth of the Jewish life that we're doing here, and I think we're doing it successfully, and it's definitely a region worth coming. And I think also the pandemics taught us a lot to be together, and thank God in the era of the internet, and that we can do events like we're doing it here today. It makes us only stronger as one nation, as Jewish people. So I want to invite you to Latvia and to Riga and to our region.
Thank you. Thank you. Licia?
I feel so lucky to be here today, and I really feel privileged. Thank you for inviting us today here. And now, you know, a Turkish Jewish friend in Istanbul, and you are always welcomed. We are so excited to have. We have a very rich history, and I am looking forward to meet some of you, hopefully. And thank you for giving us this chance to be all together.
Thank you so much, Licia. There are some very nice comments in the chat, thanking all of you. And someone here, Valerie, is in touch with Nissim. I guess he presented at last year's Tikkun. So I hope we'll continue with the with the relationship. And I want to just share ways that you can connect. This is the network of so many countries and communities, and some of our partners, including the Marilyn Meyerson JCC, which this is my opportunity to thank this wonderful JCC for being such a strong partner and promoter of global Jewish life around the world. You can see some of our leaders, some of them are from your JCC and other JCCs around the world, and you can stay connected with us. This is my email address. We have a website. I can also, maybe you want to write in the chat, Ina and Licia, your email addresses to be in touch. So I want to thank all of you. Have a good night's sleep. We will start the day. And during these very, very difficult times when we think there is no hope and the world looks so gray and dark, this is, for me, an inspiring session to see the wonderful work that is done on behalf of Jewish communities all over the world. So, Chag Shavuot Sameach, Toda Rabba.
Chag Shavuot Sameach. Thank you.
Bye.
Chag Shavuot Sameach.